Shalom, Yasharallah. It's your brother Dawadah, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I wanted to jump into this here lesson, which is based off of a comment that somebody left named Mike Murphy. All right. Now let me see. This is on a really old video. It says the mark of the beast, transhumanism, Morgellons disease. I'm not sure what the rest of the title is, but nevertheless, going into this here comment, you know, it was speaking about a disease. So Mike Murphy asked, "What do you mean when you say Esau created it?" All right, and he responded to my question. I was like, "I'm not sure what you were referring to because this was a really old video." All right, and he commented back and said, "You said that Esau created the diseases. I assume you're not talking about Esau in the Bible or maybe his descendants. Who would that be today? Like the elite one world globalist types, those helping usher in the one world government beast system? Just curious." All right. I wish this is a great question to be asked. All right. Now, before I go into this here topic and things like that, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know, discerning the spirit of, you know, reading your comment and things like that. You may or may not know much about, you know, things that's in the scriptures, more or less to say, or, you know, the truth that's actually in the scriptures. I'm not saying that to, you know, belittle anybody or anything like that, but I'm just saying based off of the, you know, this may be your first time coming across the Israelites. All right. But nevertheless, when you ask about Esau, like I said before I go into it, you know, you may or may not bear, you know, so-called white skin. You know, when you look in the mirror, you may or may not look like a so-called white man. All right. But just, you know, beyond that, first and foremost, this isn't about skin color. All right. So, you know, in a deeper topic, you know, I have other videos like that. You know, not all Israel will look the same and so on and so forth, you know. But nevertheless, you know, dealing with the Israelites, we're not about skin color. You know, you will hear us say the so-called white man this and the so-called white man, the so-called black man, so on and so forth. We use these terms because it's a lot easier for you to understand who these people are. All right. And not every so-called white man, you know, like I'm going to go into it, is Esau Edom. All right. So, for instance, like, you know, just a real quick short thing, you know, Jacob or Israel would be you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you know. Then, you know, Israel was scattered amongst the four corners of the earth. All right. So they could look like any nation. All right. And Esau would be the so-called white man. Now, like I said, just, you know, building on this just a little bit to, you know, before this becomes a stumbling block. All right. Now, some Israelites who I just said are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. Some Israelites that you know of, let's say Christina Aguilera, Cameron Diaz. Let me think of somebody else that you may know. But nevertheless, those are two real good ones right there. You know, Cameron Diaz and Christina Aguilera. All right. You would think that these are so-called white women, right? But nevertheless, these would be Israelites. All right. Based off of who their father is. All right. Now, they may look like that. Or if you know who Blake Griffin is, the basketball player. All right. If you look at his father's a really dark-skinned so-called Haitian man. All right. Which he would be from the tribe of Levi. All right. Now, again, you are who your father is. All right. So Blake Griffin's father is a so-called Haitian, a really dark-skinned man. All right. Now, his mother looks like a so-called white woman. Right. So Blake Griffin looks like how the world would say a mixed person. You know, he's a little light-skinned. Right. Now, Blake Griffin got with a woman that looks, again, like a so-called white woman. All right. Now, his child is blonde hair and blue eyes. Looks like Macaulay Culkin off of Home Alone, you know, the first Home Alone. Right. So this little boy is walking around with blonde hair, blue eyes, so-called white skin. However, he's still an Israelite. All right. So don't let the skin tone be a stumbling block unto you, or vice versa. If you know who the Tia and Tamara twins are from, you know, depending on how old you are, there was a show called Tia and Tamara or whatever back in the days, you know. These two women look like so-called black women. All right. However, they're not so-called black women, or they're not, like I said, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. These are the Israelites. However, the Tia and Tamara, all right, they look like so-called black women. However, they're not so-called black women, or they're not Israelites. All right. Based off of who their father is. All right. London, what's her name? Lauren London, right? Lauren London, Nunu from the movie ATL, looked like your typical so-called black woman. However, this is not a so-called black woman. This is not an Israelite. Her father is a what you call in the scriptures an Amalekite, all right? Which the Amalekites, or Amalek, was a grandson of Esau Edom, All right. So basically, she would be a descendant of Esau. All right. Even though she looks like a so-called black woman. All right. And what I'm telling you is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, are the Israelites. However, you know, she's not an Israelite. She's actually an Edomite. All right. So don't let that be a stumbling block unto you. It's not based off of your skin color. All right. It goes back into your father, who your father is. So your skin can look however, you know, whatever. All right. But nevertheless, another good example, Mariah Carey, right? She looks like a so-called white woman, all right? However, her father is a so-called black man, all right? She's an Israelite. So again, this is not based off of your skin color. We just use the term so-called white man as being Esau Edom, all right? And the so-called black Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we let you know that that's Israel or Jacob in the scriptures. However, you know, we've been mixed up and our skin colors, you know, have been tainted and things like that. So not all of Israel is going to look like a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American. In the case of like Cameron Diaz, Christina Aguilera, and Mariah Carey, none of those three women look like so-called Latino or black women. All right. However, they're all, you know, they will be considered Israelites based off of who their father is. And Lauren London, T and Tamara, they look like so-called black women. However, they're Edomites. All right. So I don't want that to be a stumbling block as we go into this here lesson of who is Esau Edom. All right. So, you know, just to get that out of the way, because like I said, I don't know, you know, if, you know, you may have white skin or whatever, whatnot, but, you know, just discerning the spirit that you're coming in and asking this here question. All right. This is like a question that you sincerely want to get understanding. All right. So I'm going to give you the understanding. All right. So, you know, if you do have the white skin and you hear this here lesson, don't let that be an offense to you. You know, just go a little deeper, you know, watch some more videos and pray for understanding. All right. Pray to the Lord. If the Lord opens this up to you and you're able to understand this, and this here truth is bearing witness to your spirit, you're an Israelite. All right. And basically, if you watch through this here whole video, and that's, you know, the only thing that you could pick out, nothing else kind of bothered you in the video, you know, you just inquisitive of who Esau Edom is, you know, that's just, you know, giving me the first step to understand that, hey, you know, you might be discerning this here sincere milk. All right. So going back into the question on the second comment, it says, Dawada, you said that Esau created the diseases. I assume you're not talking about Esau in the Bible. Or maybe now, I think that you said that you're not talking about Esau in the Bible because when you come across Esau, like actual Esau, the person Esau in the Bible is in the book of Genesis 25. All right. That was where he was born at, you know, and then eventually that one human being ended up dying. Right. So that's probably what you mean by you're probably not talking about Esau in the Bible because he would have been long dead. It says, or maybe his descendants, and that would be correct. All right. So just like Israel, or, you know, Jacob's name was changed to Israel, all right? And then you hear in the Bible sometimes the children of Israel, all right? Or, you know, basically going into their descendants, you know, Israel, the Israelites today, all right? They're basically the descendants of Israel, which is Jacob, all right? The Edomites, well, let me slow down because you may not know those names. Esau, all right? His name was changed to Edom, just like how Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Esau's name was changed to Edom. So that's why sometimes you'll hear me say Esau Edom, but nevertheless. And then, you know, Edomites would be, you know, the people of Edom, just like how you would say the Israelites are the people of Israel. All right. But nevertheless, Esau, you know, Esau, his name was changed to Edom. All right. Now he had children. All right. And his descendants keep going on and on and on and on and so on and so forth. All right. So technically, yes, the Edomites are still here today, just like the Israelites are still here today. However, the two original men, Jacob and Esau, those two men are long gone. You see what I'm saying? So yes, to answer your question, when you say, I assume you're not talking about Esau in the Bible, the actual person that was born from from Isaac and Rebekah, yeah, he's long gone. But however, his descendants, his seeds are still here. Just like Jacob, Jacob, the son of Isaac and Rebekah, he's long gone, but his descendants are here. All right, they're the Israelites. All right, you see them. You see Jacob and Esau both walking around today, everywhere you go. You know. But nevertheless, it says, who would they be today? Like the elites, the elite one world globalist types, those helping usher in the one world government beast system? Just curious. Now, that alone lets me know that you kind of awoke to what's really going on around here. All right. This is why I'm going in and dealing with you like this. All right. So, yes, you going into the right way, more or less to say. You know, Esau's trying to set up his one world government. All right. Now we're going to go into the scriptures and we're gonna highlight some of these things. In fact, since we're in the book of Job, I'm gonna start here at Job 5, because you talk about this one world government, the elite system. This is Job 5 and 12. It says, he disappointed the device of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is headlong. All right, now keep that in mind as we go to the book of Job. What is that? This is Job 20. Well, I'll read from verse 20. Surely he shall feel. Now we just read that the Most High is going to disrupt, the counsel of the crafty. You know, he's going to throw off their situation. All right, so that his hand cannot perform his enterprise, things that he want to do. All right, and what is it that he wants to do? He wants to set up this this new world order. All right, this new world order beast system, and you correct about that when we talk about the beast system. All right. There's going to be a actual beast system, which we rolled pretty much in it right now. We're rolling into it now, you know. Now, the mark of the beast, all right, is the RFID chip, which I have videos on that as well, too. All right, that's where they're going to fully implement this here system, and that's the time and the place where we're in now, where they're going to collapse this here economy, all right, and dead this here currency to usher in the RFID chip, which you see the system is being prepared for that now, all right. So, Job 20 and 20 says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come up upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast fury of his wrath upon him. He shall rain it upon him while he is eaten. All right. So going into that is like, yo, when he's about to fill his belly, all right, that's when basically that's when the Most High is going to bring this here destruction down on basically, you know, I'll say it like this for, you know, feeding you milk, not meat, basically. You know, when the Most High is going to destroy this here new world order system, this here beast system, all right, or when Esau, Edom, all right, the damn devil, all right, when he's about to basically flip on his switch, you know what I'm saying? It's like you opening up a business and you have the grand opening and a ribbon cutting ceremony, right? Yeah, he's going to let you build up your building, put the name on it, everything like that. Hire some staff or whatever, whatnot, get them all in there, train them all up. And in the moment you go and cut the ribbon to have your grand opening, he'll let you have your little speech and everything. But when they go to cut that ribbon, as that ribbon falls, so shall your kingdom fall. All right. So going into that, like you were saying about this here beast system, those trying to help bring in and usher in the beast system, you are correct. All right. Now just, you know, observe the things that's going on around. You know, you have these elitists that's setting up this new world order system. But as you also see these prophecies are coming to pass. All right. You know, you can watch more of the videos. We go into that all the time. All right. Because what? The spirit of YAHAWASHI is the spirit of prophecy. All right. But nevertheless, going into, you know, the prophecies, we see that this here kingdom is falling. So we know that, you know, salvation is not. All right. Now I'm going to go back to the book of Job. Now this is going to just be, you know, some basic scriptures just to the point, just to kind of paint a narrative of who the devil is and, you know, who is Esau in the scriptures. All right. And basically what time frame he will be ruling in. All right. So this is the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. All right. It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right. So right now we're living in the devil's rulership right now. The devil is ruling the earth right now. Now, the devil, all right, is not a person that's living under the earth, or not a, you know, like the spirit that's living under the earth with a pitchfork, you know what I'm saying, in this place called hell or whatever, whatnot. All right. The damn devil, the word devil just means deceiver. All right. Now, this is basically Esau's special weapon. All right. We can actually grab that couple, you know, a little further down because we'll get kind of close to it. But nevertheless, you know, his special weapon is he was blessed with the sword. All right. To take peace from the earth, man. All right. And to live by the sword. That was going to be his weapon, his specialty, more or less to say, his special move. All right. But not only does he have a physical sword, which is his military arm, he also has a different type of sword, which is his tongue. All right. His deceitful tongue, man. That's why we call him that's why we call him the devil, the deceiver. All right. That's what he does. He gets everything basically by lying to everybody. All right. So it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right. So who is the wicked? The devil. All right. Who is ruling the earth right now? The devil. The earth was given into his hands at the end. All right. Now, even if you know some basic Christianity or whatever, whatnot, you would have some understanding that who the world English calls Jesus will be coming back in the end time, and like the way the Christians speak about it, he gonna fight with the devil and claim the kingdom, and the kingdom of heaven is gonna come. So you'd have to understand that what we just read here, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That's right on time, because what? The Lord actually is gonna come and take the crown up off of his damn head and put him into captivity. All right, but nevertheless, this is, you know, actually people walking around the earth right now. All right, who is the earth given into the hand right now of? Who's ruling the earth right now? All right, quick questions. You know, we're gonna think about this in a carnal sense. What one nation can go around putting sanctions on other nations, telling them what they can and can't do? Y'all can't make no money over here. Y'all can't trade over here. Anybody, you know, trading with y'all, you know, we're gonna cut y'all off. We're gonna go to war with y'all. Oh, we don't like the policies you pushing over there, so we're gonna stir up some propaganda, and then we're gonna bomb you to hell and back, and then we're gonna steal your goddamn land, and then make up a bunch of lies about you to make us look like that we came to your rescue and you just wasn't strong enough to survive or whatever, whatnot. You know, who's been doing this in their track record, man? All right, you have to think about this. All right, now this would be Esau Edom, who is the so-called white man. All right, now we tell you, like I said again, don't let that be a stumbling block onto you, because it's not necessarily based off of your skin color. All right, but nevertheless, when you look around, man, who is going around throughout the whole earth? Who is the earth given into the hands of? All right, you know, the scriptures is based off of different nations. All right, you don't see the Chinese, the Arabs, the Africans, none of these people. You don't see none of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. None of these people sanctioning no other country. All right, well, China got some little terrors, you know, as retaliation on America, and Russia got some sanctions on a couple people here in America, but it ain't really doing, it's not really nothing to our economy or nothing like that. You know, like I said, Russia's got some to some individuals like John Bolton and whatever, whatnot, so they can't travel to Russia. But however, America is the one that sanctions countries like, look at Cuba. You ever wonder why Cuba is stuck in the 50s? Because why? America put sanctions on them. America was the one to tell them, look, bro, you can't go past go. You cannot collect $200. I'm the big man on the block. Y'all ain't getting shit over here, man. And what can any of these nations do about it? You see what I'm saying? Syria didn't really want America over there, but what could Syria do about it besides call Russia over there? And Russia, you know, Russia, and I'm not going to get too much into that now, which that's all a part of prophecy, because this is going to be the people battling it out in what you call World War III at the end all be all. The Most High is using them to bring down Babylon the Great. But nevertheless, like I said, you don't really see no nations sitting here putting in work on no other nations, man. What other nation, based off of so-called race, right? You don't see the Chinese people, man. China, they say China and like India got like the two biggest militaries, right? And the two biggest populations, all right? But neither one of those countries are invading no other country. They're not taking nobody else's shit like that, man. All right? Even Russia ain't taking nobody. Well, yeah, they're not taking nobody's shit, man. And, you know, if you want to go talk about the stuff that they annexed, that's literally their own shit, man. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. This is why they have rulership over all these other nations. This is why, you know, I'll grab that next to. Let me see. Let me come back to this. Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also because he transgresses by wine. Now the wine that he transgresses by is his doctrines, his philosophies, his little bullshit laws and shit that he be having. Again, this is his special move to deceive you. Oh, you want to... America go to all these damn countries to bring peace and humanitarian aid, man. Why did they go to Iraq, man? Well, they told us that they went to Iraq because homeboy had weapons of mass destruction. And then they was like, you know what? We over here for humanitarian aids. We got to save these people from this brutal dictator, Saddam Hussein. We got to go over to goddamn Germany to help those people out over there because this brutal dictator, Adolf Hitler, man. We got to go put it to Russia before communists spread over the whole damn earth, man. You see what I'm saying? Like, yo, bro, why don't you keep your ass at home, man? Why you always worried about somebody else shit? That's like you in your house, and you hear about your neighbor over there beating his wife and beating and abusing his kids and shit. Yeah, that's wrong, but look, bro, worry about your shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, your neighbor, the dude down the block or whatever, whatnot, you know what I'm saying? He got a gambling problem, so now he about to lose his house, so on and so forth, and you about to take your, you know, you living paycheck to paycheck, but you about to take your paycheck to pay his bills. But then you finna get evicted. Worry about paying your bills first before you worry about somebody else's shit, man. All right? But nevertheless, here in America, these Edomites, you know, and now I have to somewhat break it down like that because really, you know, all of them are all in cahoots with each other. All the, you know, those other European nations or whatever, whatnot. But really the head of it is over here in America. All right? Like when you go in the book of Revelation, 17, book of Revelation 17, all right, the great whore is Babylon, which is America. All right. Now the beast that the whore rideth upon would be what? NATO and the EU. All right. But altogether they all Edomites. All right. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? For certain situations, we talk about, you know, Esau or the devil, you know, mainly being here in America. All right. Because this is basically where his seat is at. This is where Satan's seat is. This is where his throne is at, man. This is where he ruling the earth from, right here in America, man. All right. There ain't no other military on the planet Earth. Well, I mean, there's other militaries that's bigger than America's military, like China and Russia. And I think India's military are all bigger than America's military, like America's soldiers by themselves. However, America military, not just the American military, is damn near in every other country on the planet Earth. But NATO, which America's the head, is like basically heads and the main financier of NATO. There's NATO bases in goddamn every country on the planet Earth except for like Russia, Iran, and North Korea. But other than that, in China, I think. But other than that, there's NATO bases in every other country. So, and again, who's the head of that NATO, that whole NATO coalition, more or less to say? It would be the Edomites here in America, all right? So, either way you look at it, America has this military, either its military or NATO, which is basically the spearhead of it over all the whole earth, man. They're the ones, you know, like, hell, even in NATO, you think NATO's a big, bad organization, whatever, whatnot. But look, you got situations like Turkey. Turkey just bought the S4 or got the delivery of the S-400 from Russia, right? Now America's over here threatening their ass. But wait, I thought they was all it was all a conglomeration. But no, see, America's the one to tell them what the hell to do. The reason that America and Germany ain't getting along is because Germany is going bankrupt trying to goddamn finance all this shit. They trying to worry about feeding their own family, feeding their own kids at their own house. But America's like, no. You need to be putting in more money into the damn pot so we can all prosper. But really, America's the only one prospering, which goes also into some prophecies in the prophecy of Revelation 17, down towards the bottom where it says, these shall hate the whore and burn her with fire. This is the divide that you're starting to see. But nevertheless, going back up to verse 5, Habakkuk 2 and 5, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Going back to Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. This is why he's going around the whole damn planet Earth. So you want to find out who Esau Edom is. Esau is the damn devil, right? Now the devil is his title, right? Because this is, you know, it just means deceiver, all right? But nevertheless, he's the one that's got his damn hand in everybody else's cookie jar. The whole earth was given into his hands. Can't nobody stand up against him, all right? You can even read this in Isaiah 14. We don't have much time to go into that. I don't want this video to be super long, but I might touch on it. But nevertheless, you know, going back into verse 5, Habakkuk 2 and 5, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire is hell, and is as death cannot be satisfied. You know, so, hey, man, as long as there's women getting pregnant on this planet Earth, there's going to be human beings dying on this planet Earth. That's going to always happen. You see what I'm saying? So, look, just like the grave ain't going to never be, you know, it's never going to come a day where the grave will just be like, oh, that was the last body we taken in. Nobody else going to ever be buried after that. Because why? There's people always going to be constantly being born on the planet Earth. So therefore, people going to always be dying on the planet Earth. All right? So just how that cycle is a perpetual cycle, keep going on and on and on and on. This is how homeboy is. He can't be satisfied. His desire is his hell, and his death cannot be satisfied, man. He want more and more and more and more. And he keep oppressing people to take more and more from them. All right? It says, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth to him all people. Now, the reason that Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the devil, is heaping all these people unto him, all right, bringing all these people unto him, or like here in America, they tell you it's the big melting pot. While all these people come over here to America, it's not to be on even playing fields with them. It's not to, so, oh, buddy, I got the right way. Y'all come over, deal with me, whatever, whatnot. I'll make y'all rich too. Everything good. I just want to be partners with everybody. We all equal. No, he bringing everybody to his damn self to put them up under his foot, to rule over them, to put them in a subjection. And has not the so-called white man done this on the planet Earth? Or not all these other nations? Why do you think, goddamn, there's a trade war going on with China right now? Well, not really the trade war going on with China right now. Why do you think that there is able to have a trade war with China right now and have this to be such a big-ass thing? All right? Because why? America became a so-called consumer nation where you didn't even really have to produce shit here. You know, at a certain point in time, America just was importing everything from everybody else. He made all these other nations work and be a slave unto them. All right? But nevertheless, this is why he's heaping unto them all people. This is why they got the fair trade agreement, so that everybody's goods can flow into America, man. How many and this is why Trump is pushing for that shit where they're like, yo, we want to see more tags that say made in America. All right, but this is why you see all these other every tag that you see that say made in China, made in India, made in Mexico, somewhere else. These other nations are being used to provide for America. All right, there's no other country on the planet Earth that has that situation like that. All right, well, China is somewhat in that situation because their economy is propped up based off all the damn goods we buying from them. But it's all the goods that they selling over here for us to have all these damn trinkets and shit, man. All right. So, now let me keep going. Verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long to him that has laded himself with thick clay? So, what other nation besides America, or forget all of that, what other nation of people, you know, the so-called white man is the only, you know, from 1492, right? When Columbus sailed the sea blue is how they say it, right? Since 1492, the so-called white man has been rape, robbing, and murdering, and pillaging, and stealing all the goddamn resources off the planet Earth, man. Since 1492, it ain't been no other nation has been safe on the planet Earth, man. Everybody went into subjection under him. The goddamn Arabs, the goddamn Chinese, this motherfucker been on regime change since 1492, before 1492. Then the Dark Ages. That's what all that means, you know? The Renaissance era, that was the rebirth of the so-called white man, Esau Edom, all right? That's when, you know, because the Dark Ages is when Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native, well, really just the Negroes, all right, because the Latinos and Native Americans, they were already over here in America, all right, and I got lessons on that too about the Native Americans and who they were and how they got here, all right, and if you got concerns about that, put that in the comment box. I'll go back and do another lesson on that as well too, but nevertheless, around really, what was that, around like 90 AD, all right, you know, around the time when the Lord was on the scene, you know, 90 AD, all right, Jake, the so-called Negroes, all right, came into power. You know, you had two Roman empires. You had the Ottoman Empire and then you had the Byzantine Empire. The Ottoman Empire would have been basically these Edomites, the so-called white man ruling over there, all right? Now, the Byzantine Empire would have been basically Jake coming into power, the so-called Negroes coming into power. You can go online right now, Google searching images. You can look up, type in blacks in Europe, all right? You'll see all this, the fucking statues, all the history of so-called black people over there in Europe, all right? Built all those castles and shit, like all the shit that you see in Europe, modern day today, all right? All that shit was built by so-called Negroes, all right? The so-called Negroes over here built all that shit over there, all right? Now, even King James was a so-called black man. Now, you think about this. The King James, you can go online right now and look up the 1611 King James Version, which it's a little over 400 years now. 2011 would have been the 400 year since he but translated the King James Version, all right? So now when you go back to the 1611 King James, all right, that person who translated that was a so-called Negro. That was a so-called black man. In fact, I believe if it wasn't him, it might have been I don't even know if his son actually sat on the throne. I don't even know if his wife might have sat on the throne briefly after him for a short amount of time. But literally, they was like the last family to sit on the throne, the last Negro family to sit on the throne before all the identity and everything else was hijacked. Like they tell you that King James was a so-called homosexual and he slept with his mother. Well, King James that translated the Bible, all right, his mother died at like the age of 3, all right? So he could have slept with his mother like a baby sleep with their parents, but sexually he couldn't have slept with his mother at the age of 3, all right? You see what I'm saying? His mother actually passed away at the age of 3. The story that you hear about King James like that would be this other king, King James Lackland. That's a different King James. The King James that translated the Bible, his name was King James Stewart, I believe, all right? Now, when you go into some of these terms like the stewards, it was some other terms as well, too. But all these terms go back to basically black, like black or whatever, whatnot. Talking about black folks, just like shit. Look at the goddamn British flag, all right? That flag that they got is I forgot what they call that shit, but it's something Jack or something Jack, something like that. But nevertheless, it's going back to Jacob, all right? That's why a lot of flags, even like the Florida flag, the Georgia flag, the rebel flag, all these flags got that so-called X or a cross in it. You know, this was basically going back to Jacob, all right, in Israel, you know, King James, who when you open up the pages of the 1611 Bible, they'll tell you how he unified, like you go on a map today, you see the United Kingdom. He was the one that unified those kingdoms, man. King James was the king over many different kingdoms, more or less saying he unified those kingdoms, all right? Now, I don't know if he thought this or whatever, whatnot. They thought that possibly that this was the prophecies coming back to pass where everything was getting reunited, but there had to be a fall in the way. But going back into history a little bit, like I said, you can Google search images of blacks in Europe and go back to all that history and read all the history about how we was over there and what we did for that society, whatever, whatnot. All right. Now, we was also in Spain. All right. Now, you can go back to look up the Moors. Now, the Moors was basically the so-called Negroes. All right. That was under the Islamic religion. That was just their religion was Islam. Right. Now, the Moors basically was ruling over in Spain. Now, this is where it get a little tricky because the so-called white man be stealing everybody's identity, all right? So he would tell you that he's the let me fast forward to the end first. Like right now, they call them over here in America, Americans, right? The so-called white man here in America is called Americans. However, if you was to take that name and you go back into history and you go back to what happened when like Cortez and De Soto and them came over here and so on and so forth, what happened, you would put that into play as the Americans wound up fighting the Native Americans. Like, nah, that's neither one of those was their names. They hijacked the Native Americans' names that they gave them. The Native Americans had different names, but the so-called white man called them the Native Americans and called them Indians, which the word Indian means savage, all right? But then he stole their identity as being the Americans. Before, when they came over, they were so-called Europeans, right? Now, I was telling you that King James in the 1600s was a so-called black man. They was Europeans, all right? And they went back before that, all right? But they was overtaken. They was overthrown by the so-called white man. So-called white man stole their identity, told you that they were the Europeans. They didn't build shit over there in Europe. So we talking about, oh, y'all European of European descent. Well, technically, y'all stole that identity. You're not European at all. You see what I'm saying? Y'all just stole that identity, all right? We was that before y'all was or whatever, whatnot, all right? Or like, what's the other one? The Spaniards, right? You know, or the Spanish or the Spaniards, right? Now, again, before Queen Elizabeth, what was it? Queen Elizabeth and King Ferdinand, or Queen Isabel and King Ferdinand, all right, Slovakia, before they was up over there, all right, there was Israelites ruling over there, all right, in Spain, all right? In fact, the first slave ships come from Spain, all right? Now, give me 1 second. All right, I wanted to bring out this. This is on this guy named Luis de Torres, all right, which Christopher Columbus wound up hiring to come over to America. Hold on. Let me just read a little bit of this. Luis de Torres was employed by Christopher Columbus as an interpreter on his first voyage to the New World. Prior to this, de Torres held a position in Juan Chacon, governor of America, a province where there was a large number of Jews, as a Hebrew interpreter. So first of all, Luis de Torres was a so-called Jew, right? Now I say so-called Jew because he's basically an Israelite, all right? But nevertheless, just continuing on, it says, as a Hebrew interpreter, all right, so homeboy actually spoke Hebrew, all right, because he was Jewish, and this was during the era of the Inquisition. So this was the time of the turn of the tables I was just explaining, all right? Columbus and them came from where? From Spain and them, right? From over in Spain, right? From Queen Isabel and King Ferdinand, right? Now, this was the time where the Jewish expulsion was going on. They was getting kicked out of Spain, and they was going into slavery. So believe it or not, the first slave ships didn't come from Africa. They actually came from Spain, all right? And we reading here some of the history right now. Columbus took Luis de Torres, who was a Jew during the time period of the Jewish expulsion, all right, from basically over in Spain, all right, to bring him to America to be a translator because he knew that he was coming to America to find Israelites, and they would be speaking Hebrew. This is what the natives, so-called native language, the so-called Native Americans was speaking before the so-called white man got over. They was actually speaking Hebrew, all right? This is why Columbus hired this dude who could speak Hebrew, all right? So, let me see. Right here it says, the voyage also coincided with the expulsion of all Jews from Spain. So where were the Jews living at before? In Spain, right? So before Queen Isabel and them going over there, all right, was over there, the Israelites was over there ruling in Spain, all right? But then they was thrown out. This is, you can go into history, look up images, all right? You can look up Moors in Spain, all right? Look up some images of that. You'll see so-called Negroes was in charge ruling. They had so-called white people in captivity. They had them basically in slavery, all right? So, reading this here paragraph, it says, because he was versed in Hebrew, Aramaic, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Latin, and some Arabic, Columbus had thought he would be helpful upon their arrival. Especially useful would be his knowledge of Hebrew and Aramaic, as Columbus fully expected to encounter, now here's a stumbling block, it says Asians, descendants of the lost tribe of Israel. That they weren't Asians, they were just Israelites. All right, that's why he brought somebody who could speak Hebrew. He didn't bring nobody that could speak the Asian languages. He brought somebody who could speak Hebrew, and he brought some people from the place where a lot of these people was from, over in Spain. You also have to understand that in the year 70 AD, all right, when the Romans came and sacked Jerusalem, all right, there was a large number of Israelites, all right, who fled over the mountains. You know, Israel is close to basically Egypt, which is in Africa. It's a 3-day journey walking, all right. They fled into Africa, all right, into Africa to hide from the Romans. The Romans basically was so-called white men. The Israelites was basically so-called Negroes, all right, just like when who the world annually calls Jesus Christ was, but when he was born, all right, his parents fled into Egypt, right? They was fleeing because basically Herod put out a decree to kill all the babies from, I believe, 3 years old and younger, because he knew YAHAWASHI was being, or who the world even calls Jesus. I don't know if you're familiar with the names or not, but, you know, the real name is YAHAWASHI. But continuing on, he knew that he was being born, so he basically had put out this here decree or whatever, whatnot, to basically put all the children that was, I believe, the age of 3 and younger to death. So what his parents did was they fled into Egypt, all right, amongst other people that looked like them, all right, fleeing from the Roman persecution, all right. So, you know, just trying to connect these here dots, all right. Why would you know, so-called white man be hiding from another so-called white man and decide to go hide up against a bunch of so-called black people? He would stick out like a sore thumb. Just like if Shaquille O'Neal was trying to hide from the police and shit like that, he, you know, and trying to stick in somewhere, he's not going to go hide amongst the Asians, the Chinese people, or the North Korean people, and South Korean people. Like Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman stick out like a sore thumb over in North Korea because he like 4 feet taller than everybody over there, and he a different color than everybody over there. So he stick out like a sore thumb. So it only makes sense that the Israelites were people of color, all right, so-called Negroes, fleeing from the Romans, who were so-called white people. They would hide amongst people that also looked like them, so-called Africans, all right? So this is how they got into Africa. Then they wind up in what they have called the sub-Saharan slave trade, all right? The Arabs wind up taking basically the Israelites into captivity, all right? And they basically spread them, all right, basically from the east coast of Africa all the way to the west coast of Africa. And at this point in time, this is where basically you have the slave trade pick up from, all right? So, and now, when you go back in the history, at the end of all that, this is how we became converted into Islam. So when I say that we was the Moors, all right, and they was Islamic at the same time, that's where they got that religion from. They was forced converted under the damn Arabs in that time frame. So there was like a period of like 1,000 years that wound up going past, which also coincides with the scriptures, how they talk about Satan would be cast into hell for 1,000 years till he'll be released to deceive the nations to Gog and Magog. That was when he was cast into the pit for 1,000 years, all right? So roughly from like around the year 90 to the year like, I want to say like the late 1300s, the late 1300s, all right? That all fulfills Bible prophecy, all right? But just continuing on real quick, I think there was one more. It says, this last paragraph, regardless of his final outcome, Luis de Torres was without dispute the first Jew to set foot in the Americas. So let's go back. Where did he get this guy from? Where did Columbus get this so-called Jew from? All right. The so-called Jew came from Spain, right? Again, going back into the history that you can just go look up. This is all, I mean, this is, you know, you can find this in so-called secular history. He found him basically in Spain in a time where they was all being expelled from Spain. All right. Now, when were they getting expelled from Spain? As the first slave ships was setting sail from Spain, all right, over to the Americas. Who was those people getting on slave ships? The same people that was getting expelled from Spain, which would have been the so-called Negroes that made it over here to America, all right? Why did he bring this so-called Jew, the same people that came over to America, as a translator to the people over here in America? Because basically they was all the same people. They was brethren, and he knew about this, all right? And they was all basically Israelites, and they all spoke the same language, all right? Just to give you a little backdrop on to these people. Now, let's get back to the scriptures. Just as a brief history lesson. I know this lesson went on way long, but, you know, just giving you some, how they call secular history to kind of back these things up, all right? Let me go back down to where I was reading in verse 6. I'll just read verse 6 over again. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. All right. And all these landmasses, like I said, since damn 1300s, All right, the late 1300s, or really, yeah, like the late 1300s and slowly into the late 1400s. Really, they started picking up. I mean, really, when you go into history, man, like like I said, King James was still ruling in the 1600s, the early 1600s, 1611. I think Russia, there was still so-called black people ruling in Russia till like the late 1800s or the mid 1800s. All right, and you can look that up too. I believe just look up images of the rulers of Russia back in like the 1800s. You'll see, actually, I believe it was a black woman ruling over there. They had a so-called black woman ruling in Hawaii, I believe, in the 1800s as well too. Another thing to look up Russian icons. This will give you, hey, this shit blows. This is all the evidence that you need. Go to Google search and type in Russian icons. All right, you'll have to understand why there's a difference between a Russian so-called Orthodox church and then the other, like basically the Catholic Church, right? They basically look like the same type of shit, but one of them is on a certain type of way than the other one. Whereas the old school where the Russian church was, they still had all the so-called black images up, right? Versus what you see over here in America, with Catholicism, they got these so-called white images of the Lord, all right? Now, we're going to get back to that, but let me finish this off and I'll get back into that. All right, it says, woe to him that increases that which is not his, and to him that ladeth himself, how long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. What nation on the earth has accumulated the most debt? All right, America's got the most goddamn debt that anybody, like, that the whole world has ever seen. Man, they like 200 plus, maybe 300 by now. 200 plus $trillion in the debt. $200 trillion in the debt, bro. There's no way they can pay that shit off. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, let me get back to what I was just speaking on with the Russian icons. This is Job 9:24 again. All right. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, which I just went through all of that, how the transition of all this just happened, and it was all given into the hand of the wicked. We see this going on right now. Like I said, from really the time of who was that? Like Columbus and them was rolling out they shit. Like I said, the Renaissance means rebirth. All right, and that's why they call it the Dark Ages, because the Dark Ages and the what do they call it? The Black Knights, Dark Knights. They was actually talking about black people, right? You so-called Negroes. That was us over there, ruling over there. All right, and that's why they tell you in secular history now, oh, there was no information, there was no, oh, we don't know what the hell happened over there. That was when knowledge increased, because they trying to put us down. But like, how the fuck do you know what happened in the Big Bang and shit like that? And 500 million years ago, so you say we was here 500 million years ago, all right, but you don't know what the fuck happened in the 1300s. You see, you see what I'm saying? Like, yo, there's history. Like when you so-called Jewish people converted from the Khazars in 740 AD, all right, we know about that shit. We know about what happened in the Roman Empire, the Grecian Empire, the Egyptian Empire, and so on and so forth. But you don't know what happened from 90 AD to fucking the late 1300s. You see what I'm saying? No, that was because the Israelites was ruling. They had to erase this here history from us, so we didn't know who the fuck we were. That's why the so-called black man don't know that he has any history before slavery. They just think, they'll tell you, like, well, you niggas was just slaves, swinging from trees in Africa. We had to domesticate you. When in reality, we the fuck domesticated your ass. When we had you in slavery in Europe, we had you motherfuckers in slavery. We can even read about this in the book of Job. This is why your whole name, Caucasians. The name Caucasians come from the Caucasus Mountains over there in Georgia, Russia. This is where you was going back to the Khazars, the Khazarian Empire. Google search the Khazarian Empire. All right, that was right there, modern day where Georgia, the country Georgia, all right, which is at the, you're looking at a map, the far west side of Russia, all right, you'll see Georgia, what they'll claim Georgia, Russia, right? Now, at the southernmost part of that, you'll see these mountain ranges called the Caucasus Mountains. Back in the olden days, that was actually called a Khazarian Empire, all right? Where is that at? Job, what is this, Job 30? Real quick. This is Job 30:3. For want and famine they were in solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former times desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper root for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as a thief, to dwell in the clefts of the valleys and the caves of the earth and in the rocks. And among the bushes they brayed under the nettles, they were gathered together. They were the children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were reviled in the earth. And now I am their song, yea, I am their byword. See, they call us niggas spicks, slaves and shit like that, but they don't even know their own fucking history. You see what I'm saying? Like, yo, there was a point in time where your ass was goddamn being the so-called white man was being a goddamn devil on the earth. All right, then people basically chased his ass up into the damn mountains in Georgia. Now, don't get this confused, because Esau goes back, you know, he did have a land which is Mount Seir. You can look that up. Google search that. Google search Petra, Petra, and you'll see that Petra, all right, the design in Petra looks just like the designs of they buildings today, man. This is the same person, man. They got the same spirit on them, man. All right, they build all their buildings and all their cities and shit out of concrete. These motherfuckers love concrete, the rocks, the mountains and shit like that. This is why they build these big ass skyscrapers, everything built out of concrete, man. This is why you see concrete everywhere, because this is what this motherfucker likes. All right, but when you go back to Mount Seir, his original place, all right, or what you would call Petra, you Google search that, the image Petra. It looked just like the buildings that you see in Washington, D.C., the buildings that you see in Rome, the buildings you see in Greece. All right, all these it's the same shit, man, because it's the same person building the same shit, man. All right, just like the pyramids in Egypt. All right, don't get confused. We not Egyptian. We was enslaved in Egypt. Like you can read in the Bible, we built those cities in slavery, just like how we built up America. All right, we built up those cities in slavery, and we also built the pyramids. Now, nobody on the face of the earth can recreate those damn pyramids, even to this day, even with this technology. However, those same pyramids was recreated all over the earth by the same damn people. You see it over in the Yucatan Peninsula, and like in Central America. There's a couple places down off in Central and South America that those pyramids are built like that. All right, they not exactly the same size, but they to the same scale. All right, so like you know, like if you got model cars, it's like 1/18 scale. Like this is like everything is the right size. If you was to magnify it 18 times, all these parts would be the same size. You know what I'm saying? More or less to say. But nevertheless, those same pyramids was built by the same people who had the knowledge how to build those same pyramids with the precise measurements and everything else like that. Because both the Northern and the Southern Kingdom was enslaved in Egypt. All right. Now, when the Northern Kingdom came over to the Americas, they built up the same damn pyramids. This is why you see in so-called Native and so-called Hispanic lands, you see those same damn pyramids. All right. But nobody else can recreate that. But nevertheless, going back to Petra, all right, those same carvings and shit like that you see how those mountains are carved is the same way that you see in Rome, the same way you see in Greece, the same way you see these buildings here in America. This is why he built everything out of concrete, all right? Now, homeboy was driven up into the damn mountains. The mountains that he was driven into at this point in time would be the Caucasus Mountains, like I said, in Georgia, Russia. You can look that up, the Caucasus Mountains. This is where the term Caucasians come from. You know how you put that in the Asians or like that, like how they say Asians, all right? Asia, the people that live in Asia, the Asians. You see what I'm saying? America, Americans, you know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. Mexico, Mexicans. Caucasians, all right, come from the Caucasus Mountains. Now let me grab that real quick. Obadiah. No, I'm going around all over the place, but Lord willing, this is edifying unto the elect. This is Obadiah 1 and 3. The pride of thy heart has deceived thee. Let me go up to the top, just so you can see who this is talking about. Obadiah 1 and 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith Yahawah power concerning Edom. All right. So this is talking to Edom. All right. Jumping down. And I'm just jumping down because, you know, I know I'm going for a long time. I'm just trying to hit these points. This is Obadiah 1 and 3. The pride of thy heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground. Now, really the only people that has ever really lived in caves is the so-called white man. So when he say, yeah, we were cavemen, we come from cavemen, so on and so forth. Yeah, this motherfucker, he did. He's speaking for himself. You see what I'm saying? Like, yo, dog, we didn't have buildings from way back in the fucking day, bro. Like, beyond, like, I don't think there was ever a time where people was living the fuck outside, man. You can go back to the very beginning, right? With Nimrod and them, right? Nimrod and the Tower of Babel. These motherfuckers was building a tower that reaches all the way to the heavens. And you telling me they can build that structure, but these motherfuckers can't build a goddamn hut to live in? You see what I'm saying? In Egypt, we built the pyramids. What they would tell you was like goddamn tombs and shit like that. So they could have a place to house your body when you dead, but they didn't have a place to house your body while you was living. They had buildings all throughout the whole time frame. You know, people was living in houses, all right? You can go back, like I said, all the way into all the scriptures, you know what I'm saying? A lot. They had the angels, basically the angels that came to see him or whatever, whatnot, but these homosexuals was beating on the door trying to get to him. What door was they beating on if they didn't have no damn house? That was way back with Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. Noah was in a goddamn ark in an enclosed structure. All right. So he had the wits to, well, the Most High showed him how to build that. But nevertheless, they had all these enclosures, but they didn't have houses. Like I said, we all had houses throughout all the time that we was on the face of the earth. But Esau wanted to live in the damn mountains, right? Same way he do today. It's the only people called cavemen today. That's what you call, when they fill out an application, when you see the word Caucasians, that's what it translates to. Cave dwellers. That's who these people are. The people who come from out the caves. Like I said, it's in secular history. They come from the Caucasus Mountains. Khazaria, the Khazarian kingdom, all right? 740 AD. This is when they converted into basically being Jewish, all right? King Kagan Buyan converted these people over, and then they was a very warlike people. The same people in the same spirit, man. They was living by their sword, man, all right? So let me go from there back to the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not where and who is he? Now, he covered the faces of the judges. The main judge is who? Who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? Now, his real name, all right, because the letter J was like, it's only like 400 years old. And if you get the 1611 Bible, you'll notice there are no J's in that Bible, all right? So he was not called Jesus when he walked the scene, all right? How you say his name in Hebrew is YAHAWASHI, all right? And how you say the Most High, or who the world ignorantly called God, all right? His name is Yahweh in the ancient Hebrew tongue, all right? But nevertheless, it says he covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not where and who is he? All right, so he's covering the faces of the judges. All right, so that's a lot. Give me a second. Now this is the equivalent of a 1611 Bible right here. Now this is a app. You can just type it in 1611 Bible. Right now, a 1611 Bible is different than the ones you see today because they're missing this portion of the Bible called the Apocrypha, all right, where you have Ezra 1 through 2nd Maccabees, the book of 2nd Maccabees. Now, if you grew up in the Catholic Church, you'll see these books in there, all right? So go back to the 1611 and you'll see that these books was taken out, and they were taken out for a certain reason. Like, for instance, let me go to 1st Maccabees chapter 1 and 1, right? Which goes into, we was just reading, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. This is the history that when this happened, all right? So 1st Maccabees 1 and 1, and it happened. What happened? All right. The question should be what happened, right? Because it said, and it happened. Going back to Job 9 and 24, what we just read, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not who and where is he? So we're going to see all this here take place. And this is why this portion was taken out of the Bible, because it would be easy to identify all these people. All right. So 1st Maccabees 1 and 1 says, and it happened. After that, Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian. Now, Google search Alexander, or fuck that. Google search Philip the Macedonian, right? He'll pop up, you know, they'll give you his lineage or whatever, whatnot. Now, when you find out Philip the Macedonian, Philip came from a place called Macedonia, which is still on the planet Earth today, all right? He was a king, right? He had a son. One of his sons is who you know of as Alexander the Great, or Alexander the Greek, right? So it says after that, and it happened. After that, Alexander, which is Alexander the Great, or Alexander the Greek, the son of Philip, the Macedonian. Again, you can Google search all this and it'll tell you all this. And this is why this was taken out of the scriptures. Who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and the Medes. Again, this is all secular history, all right? The Medo-Persian Empire was ruling right before the Grecian Empire. Like when you watch the movie 300 with Xerxes and all of that. Now, Xerxes, I believe it was either him. I think it was like 2 or 3 different Xerxes. But Xerxes was married to the woman Esther. Like when you read about in the Bible, the book of Esther, all right, with Mordecai and all that, she was married to Xerxes, right? Now, from Xerxes, I believe it might have been 1 or 2 Xerxes, maybe 3, and then it went to Darius, right? Darius was basically like the last one ruling over there before Alexander wound up taking him out and basically ruling over that empire as well, too. All in history, all right? It says, and it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. The first king of Greece was who? Alexander the Macedonian, basically. His father came from Macedonia. All right, now this is the same people with the same spirit. They go and they hijack lands and say, we these people. Just like today when you go into Egypt, they be like, oh, motherfucker, the Egyptians was white people. Like, nah, that history is, we can read that history down here too, but there's not enough time, but that history is in here too. All right. So, man, I didn't really want to get to all this, but I am. Verse 2, and he made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through the ends of the earth and took much spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. See, the part of thy heart has deceived thee. All right, because why? He was blessed with this here sword to take peace from the earth. He was going to live by the sword. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. It was prophesied, like they say, manifest destiny. Yes, this was your time to rule. This was the time for the devil to come in the rulership and reign over the earth. And so that's why Alexander, he was like the quickest motherfucker to conquer the whole known world at the point in time. Like the known world at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? He wound up taking over all these damn kingdoms, I believe, in 12 years, man. And then wound up dying. That's why he was prophesied as that damn leper who ran so fast that his feet didn't even touch the ground. All right? But nevertheless, and then it was also said that homeboy wound up going on so many goddamn war campaigns and slaying every goddamn body that this motherfucker wound up sitting down and crying because there wasn't nobody else left to kill. All right? He wound up taking the crowns from all the damn kings. But then he wound up dying at like the age 32, 33 or some shit like that, right? And it says, verse 4, and he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries, nations, and kings who became tributaries unto him. After these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Like I said, man, or like even history say, he died at like a young age, like 32, like around 32, 33. Wherefore he called his servants, such were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years, then he died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. Now, let me read again. Verse 9, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so that their sons after them many years, and evils was multiplied upon the earth. There was originally 5 of them, but then they went to war with one of them, and then it wound up being 4, right? Now, it says that, verse 9, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so that their sons after them many years, and evils was multiplied in the earth. So what? Basically, their dynasty started ruling. Like, you go back to your question, you were saying, look, man, were their descendants? Yeah, these are their descendants. They're going on and on and on. This is where evils are being multiplied on the earth. This is when the earth is given into the hand of the wicked right here. This is the actual history of it all. All right? Now, real quick, let me go down to, boom, verse 18. Verse 16, now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus or Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have dominion over 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with the great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. All right. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took spoils thereof. All right. Yeah, so nevertheless, that's the history of the so-called white man stealing Egypt, all right? This is where in history now, when you go and they be like, oh, the Egyptians, they were so-called white people. And when in reality, the real Egyptians are the South Sudanese people today, man. All right, you moved them up out of their land, just like you did to everybody else, man. Where the Native Americans at now? They live on small reservations, if not all dead. But yet, your face is covering this here landmass, all right? Let me go to 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 48, all right? Because we was reading about how they would, it said the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, which we just read, how when Alexander came and took rulership, all right, evils was multiplied in the earth. This is when they started their rulership, all right? Now, just continuing on, because from chapter 1, all we keep reading is basically them taking over. You can read all the way through. So 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 3, it says, and laid open the book of the law, which is the Bible, wherein the heathen, these other nations, has sought to paint the likeness of their images. All right. So like I was saying, you can Google search Russian icons. I mean, like, I hope that you do. Google search Russian icons, and you'll see these images are of so-called black people. And there's a thing called iconoclasm, where they whitewashed all the images, right? You can see them painting over these images like so-called white people. Hell, even to this same very day now, in Catholicism, all right, all over the whole world, even the Pope himself bowed down to a black image of, you know, when you see the so-called Mary and child, that image, I think the painting's called the Mother and Child. All right, when you see that image anywhere else but America, you know, like in Europe and stuff like that, these are still black images. The woman is a so-called black woman. The child is a so-called black child. The Pope himself bows down to this here image. They know what the hell the difference is. But over here, where the Israelites predominantly live at, you know what I'm saying? We in captivity. They made us bow down into their images. All right, that's why you have the white images of the so-called Virgin Mary and the child, the baby, you know, the Lord, basically, you know. But nevertheless, hey, all this is written down in the scriptures. All right, it says, First Maccabees 3:48, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images. So what? Going back in history, they came and they took over. They took over every damn thing. All right. Then they started whitewashing all these different things throughout history, covering up all these here lies, man. All right. So real quick, since I'm over here, let me go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 6, I think. This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 7. And then answered I and said, which shall be the part in the sundry times, and which shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? All right. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau was born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. All right. So the question is being asked, when is the end of the world coming? Right. So, and basically the time clock started when Jacob and Esau was born, which we'll grab that as well too. All right. But to answer the question, you know what I'm saying, like we was going into in Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right. Job chapter 5 and Job chapter 20, talking about him setting up this here enterprise, but the Lord's going to disrupt it. When he's about to fill his belly, the Lord going to rain down the missiles on him, take him out of his kingdom. All right. So it says, for Esau is the end of the world. All right. So we know the Lord's coming back right now to take the crowns off the heads of these kings. Esau would be ruling. When you look around the whole earth, the earth is under the rulership of Esau Edom. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. When we look carnally at these nations, because none of the nations are called themselves Edomites and Israelites, so on and so forth, even those people over there in Israel call themselves Israelis. They're not Israelites, they're Israelis, all right? And really, they Edomites, Amalekites. Amalek is, you know, Amalekites are like saying the people of Amalek. Amalek is a grandson of Esau. He's just a tribe of an Edomite. Just like saying Issacharites. Issacharites would be from the tribe of Issachar. Issachar would be one of the sons of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. So Issacharites are Israelites. That's just one of the 12 tribes. All right. But nevertheless, it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. So look, Esau will be ruling in the end of the world. When you look around, who do you see ruling? The so-called white man. All right. I'm going to try to rush through. I got a couple more precepts. I'm going to try to rush through this real quick. And then, you know, I didn't mean for this to be that long, but nevertheless, we're going to go back to where they was born at. Genesis 25 and 21. I think it's 21. I'm going to skip all of that, actually. This is, man, I'm going to start at 21. Genesis 25 and 21. And Isaac entreated Yahweh. Now, the Lord's name, who the world only calls God, name is Yahawah. All right. So when we read the scriptures, sometimes we just translate it, you know, how it is. All right. And Isaac entreated Yahawah for his wife because she was barren, and Yahawah was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. So basically, she having complications with her pregnancy. And Yahawah said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So the Lord was going to create 2 different nations out of this pregnancy, all right? You're going to have the Edomites and the Israelites. You know, Jacob and Esau are about to be born, all right? But it says 2 manner of people going to be separated from thy bowels, 2 different people, all right? They're going to be separate, all right? So, yeah, they twin brothers being born on the same day from the same mother and father, but the Lord was going to create 2 different races out of them, all right? These are the 2 last races that was born on the face of the earth, you know, the Edomites and then the Israelites, all right? So it says, and one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. So we just read that Esau was the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. For verse 24, when her days were to be delivered, when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. All right, they called his name Esau because his skin pigmentation was wasted away. Just like the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today, you always look at all your homies from the streets and shit like that. They all got nicknames that describe them, like Biggie Smalls. You know, this nigga big. You know, Blackie, Slim, Redbone, Yella. You know what I'm saying? You got nicknames for people like that. Slow, you know, quick. You know what I'm saying? Why you call me quick? Shit, this nigga be in and out quick like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Or slow, because that nigga a little slow in the head or whatever, whatnot. Or black. Oh, what's up, Blackie? Yeah, he real dark skinned. Oh, what's up, yellow? She real yellow bone. What's up, red bone? She a red bone. You see what I'm saying? Whatever, you know, we descriptive with each other's nicknames or whatever, whatnot. All right. So Esau came out, for you to understand, as an albino. His mother and his father were so-called black people, but he came out as an albino. His skin pigmentation was wasted away, meaning he was lacking his melanin, like they would tell you what albinoism is, right? He was lacking his skin pigmentation. So when you go into his name, Esau means wasted away is he. His skin pigmentation was wasted away, all right? Now, let me just jump to verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name Edom. Now, inside this here pottage, right, you can read this in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 4, right, starting in verse 4, or verse 16, Salakia, about how Esau sold his birthright for one morsel of meat, right? So, homeboy didn't even wait for the food to be completely done, right? Now, just judging the spirit, when you go out to the restaurants, if a so-called white man and so-called black man go out to a restaurant at a steakhouse together and they ask how you want your steak, basically what they saying is the so-called white man is going to ask for his steak to look like just like him, all right? Pink. He want his steak to be looking just like him with pink in the middle, right? So-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, the Israelites, they're going to ask for steak that look like them. We want our shit look like us, brown, well done, right? Esau asked for his steak the same way, still with the blood in the middle. He was faint coming in. He couldn't wait, you know. He's not a man of patience and of faith or nothing like that. He got to have his right then and there, all right? So it says, and Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage. What same red pottage? He was faint coming in from the fields. Like here in the South, man, you see these damn so-called white folks out here in the fields and shit outside. I'm at a park right now where they got a boat ramp. They coming in right now red as fuck. They all sunburnt. You know what I'm saying? They all super red. You smack them, they turn red. They even got nicknames down in the South called rednecks. Why? Because the blood is showing forth through their skin. All right, so this is why, let me read it again, verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Edom means red, right? So he wanted the same red meat like his red skin, right? This is why they call him rednecks today, man. All right, so this is who Esau Edom is. Edom, whose name was changed to Edom, all right, or the Edomites, the descendants of Edom, Esau Edom, all right, would be the so-called white man today, all right? You know, for the most part, like I said, not all so-called white people, if you have white skin, are Edomites, all right? Like Mariah Carey, Cameron Diaz, Christina Aguilera, all right? And just because you got black skin don't mean you're an Israelite, like Lauren London and T and Tamara, those twins. They're so-called Edomite. They're actually Edomites, you know? But nevertheless, so real quick, verse 34, and Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage and lentils, and he did eat and rose up and went right his way. And Esau just, let me go to verse 33. And Jacob said, swear to me this day, and swear unto me, and he sold him his birthright unto Jacob. Esau sold his birthright, being the firstborn, into Jacob. Now let's go to chapter 27 and verse 41. Nope, let me go up a little bit. Verse 39. This is the blessing that Isaac, Jacob and Esau's father, blessed Esau with. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. So he would have a temporary rulership over the earth, which we read that in Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That's where we're living at now. The damn devil is ruling over the whole earth right now. All right. But it would be a temporary rulership. Verse 40. And by thy sword shalt thou live. All right. So, and it says, by thy sword shalt thou live. So, yeah, for time's sake, I'm gonna just jump to it real quick. Revelation chapter 4, what is it? 6 and 4. And there went out, Revelation 64, and there went out another horse that was red, Esau, and power was given unto him, earth was given into the hand of the wicked, that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. This is how he was going to take peace from the earth, with this damn great sword. Verse 8, and behold, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon it was Death, and hell followed him. And power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger and death, and with the beasts of the field, beasts of the earth. Going back into where we at now, the so-called white man with his sword, his blessing. He was given that military arm. even unto this day, can nobody touch him militarily wise. All right. So-called white man is reigns supreme with that damn sword. All right. That's why the Lord's got to come back and take the crown off his head and take the sword out of his hand. All right. Now, real quick, let me go to the book of Psalms 83. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to run through this real quick. Psalms 83 and 4, I think. Let me just go up to the top. Psalms 83 and 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. So these nations wound up coming together against the children of Israel to cut them off from being a nation. They wouldn't know who they were anymore. All right. It says the tabernacles of Edom, going into Esau Edom, first one, and the Ishmaelites, and of Moab, the Hagarenes, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines, and the inhabitants of Tyre. All right. Now, real quick, just going into Esau Edom. All right. Now, the Ishmaelites, like I said, that was transatlantic slave trade. All these nations had us in a captivity. You know what I'm saying? But the Hagarenes and all, these are Africans and shit, right? But Esau Edom, the so-called white man, all right, took us into captivity. So we're going to go from there to the book of Joel, chapter 3, and verse 6, just to the point. Well, shit, I got to go up. 3 and 3. Joel 3 and 3. They have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Now, in the transatlantic slave trade, this is what they was trading, all right? They was giving the Africans, all right, basically giving the Africans muskets and wine, all right? So it says, they have cast lots for my people. So they were selling them. They have given a boy for a harlot, all right? They was selling them into prostitution and sex slavery, all right? And it sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Verse 4, yea, what do you have to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine, which these are all Africans, right? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? You know, like in basketball, you going to go for a shot and somebody slap that shit out your hand like that Matumbo? No, no, no. You know, that's what the Lord is saying. Like, yo, bro, you can't pay me back for what you done did, man. All right, you done touched the apple of my eye, all right? Verse 5, because you have taken my silver and my gold and carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children of Judah and the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border. Now, who are the Grecians? The Grecians, we just read that earlier, that Alexander the Macedonian them took over Greece. All right, now what happened? It says the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians. Who is he talking to? The Africans. The Africans are the ones, you know, like I said, the Arabs, the Ishmaelites, took us from one coast to the other coast of Africa, from the east coast of Africa, the west coast of Africa, the east coast of Africa to the west coast of Africa in the sub-Saharan slave trade, Salakia. Then the Africans wound up rounding us up and selling us to the so-called white man, trading us to the so-called white man, all right? Because the white man, so-called white man, didn't go up into Africa and start rounding us up. It was the Africans who did that, all right? Sold us to the so-called white man. These are the people that was involved in the so-called slave trades, all right? It says, the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their borders, all right? And this is what wound up happening, all right? It was in the transatlantic slave trade that we were sold, and we were sold for prostitutes, wine, and muskets, all right? And, you know, muskets being guns, old-ass guns, all right? Real quick. You know what? I'm going to just go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here was edifying. You know what I'm saying? Lord willing, you know, this was able to open up your eyes. Look, if you got, I know I ran through this kind of quick. You know, I had a lot to bring out in a little bit of time, although I went on really long. But nevertheless, hey, man, if you got any more questions, any more concerns, a sincere question like your first question, who is Esau Edom? If you need further breaking down, don't feel bad. Put it in the comment section. Ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's my job to go in and feed the sheep of the Lord, man. All right? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, and don't let it be a stumbling block until if you have so-called white skin. If this is resonating with your spirit, you're able to understand these things, man. Hey, keep reaching out and see what the Lord is going to provide for you, all right? So I just wanted to go in and try to hopefully answer your questions and help edify with those things. I know, like I said, I know I went through this kind of quick, And I got separate videos actually touching on all these points that I went on throughout my channel. You know what I'm saying? You can subscribe and just, this is what we do on these channels, man. You know what I'm saying? We edify, man. We feed the sheep, man. All right. So like I said, if I didn't answer your questions, it wasn't clear, anything like that, hit the comment section up. No matter how dumb the question may seem or whatever, whatnot, hey, it's our job to go into it. If you have a sincere question, if you coming around with some folly or some bullshit, we're not going to answer that question. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, Lord willing, you was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can push in this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong and shalom.